Going like to the United States?
Yeah, I moved.
Never in life.
How many more albums you got in?
1 or 2. The doctor told me the left side of my heart was swollen. That explains the music though, right?
NBA YoungBoy performed 42 arena shows with a swollen heart, and he told nobody. Not his team, not his label, not his own family. A doctor pulled him aside in the middle of the biggest tour of his life and told him the left side of his heart was swollen. And this man walked right back out on stage like nothing happened. Night after night, city after city, pocketing over $1 million a show, carrying a secret that could have ended everything. And now, this week, from the other side of the planet, he finally said it out loud. He's counting down his last albums. He's planning his last tour. And he says he is never, ever coming back to America.
Going like to the United States?
Yeah, I moved.
Never in life.
But the wildest part of this story isn't the music. It's what he said about his own mother and what she fired back, because that part is still exploding in real time as we speak. Let's break it all the way down. So here's where it starts. Tuesday, August 11th, 2026. Funny Marco drops a new episode of Open Thoughts on YouTube. And it's not filmed in Atlanta, it's not filmed in LA. It's filmed in South Korea. Because that's where Sherhonda Gaulden, NBA YoungBoy, YB Top, whatever name you know him by, is living now. Not visiting, living. Within 24 hours, that interview blows past 1.8 million views per KTLA and News Nation. Over 2 million by the time we're recording this. The whole internet is watching this man calmly explain that the career we grew up on is winding down. Marco asks him straight up how many albums he has left. And YB says, quote, 1 or 2, 1 or 2.
How many more albums you got in?
1 or 2.
Think about that. This is the most prolific rapper of his entire generation. A man who flooded the game non-stop since he was a teenager, telling you the vault is closing. Then Marco asks about touring. And YB says this, word for word, one for sure. I'll go on tour one more time throughout my whole life, and that's it.
How about tours?
1 for sure. I'll go on tour one more time throughout my whole life, and that's it.
Throughout my whole life. That's not a break. That's a man describing the end. And then he drops the real bomb, the one that reframes everything. He says, quote, on tour, a doctor told me the left side of my heart was swollen and I never told nobody. I just kept doing every show. I finished my tour out like that.
The doctor told me the left side of my heart was swollen. That explains the music though, right?
Fam, sit with that for a minute. The Mesa tour, Make America Slime Again. His first ever headlining tour, his first shows in 5 years. 42 dates from September to November 2025, produced by Live Nation, opening in Dallas at the American Airlines Center and closing in Seattle at Climate Pledge Arena. Somewhere in the middle of that run, a doctor tells him his heart is swollen. He doesn't cancel one date. He doesn't tell one person. He finishes all of it. Now let me put numbers on what he carried that secret through, because this is where it gets heavy. YB himself said in that same interview that each show paid around $1.5 million. In his words, nothing less than 1.2 a night. That's per XXL. Touring data, reported through XXL back in February, puts the full tour at $70,012,731 grossed, with 552,215 tickets sold. The biggest single night was Philadelphia, October 3rd, 2025 at the Xfinity Mobile Arena. $2.373 million in one evening. The most bodies in one building was T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, 15,343 tickets on November 9th. XXL calls it the highest grossing tour ever by a debut headlining rapper, $70 million. And the man at the center of it stood on those stages with a medical secret in his chest that nobody around him knew about. 70 million, earned sick. So when the headlines say NBA YoungBoy is quitting music, this is what's underneath it. Not a publicity stunt, not a tantrum at the industry. Something happened to this man's body, and it changed his math. But to understand why this hits so different for him specifically, you have to know where his story starts, because his heart, and I mean that literally, has always been at the center of it. Let me bring y'all up to speed real quick. Sherhonda Gaulden is born October 20th, 1999 in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. He's 26 right now. His father, Jeffrey Staten, catches a 55-year prison sentence, so Kentrell is raised mostly by his grandmother, Alice Gaulden. As a toddler, he breaks his neck wrestling and has to wear a head brace. That's where those forehead scars come from, the ones the whole internet clowned for years before they became part of his legend. He drops out of Scotlandville Magnet High School in 9th grade. He starts writing raps in juvenile detention. That's the origin. No plan B, no safety net. Just a kid from Baton Rouge writing his way out from inside a cell. And here's the detail that should stop you cold. His grandmother Alice, the woman who raised him, dies in July 2010 at 57 years old. The cause, per her obituary in The Advocate, heart failure. Heart failure. Now fast forward to 2026, and a doctor is telling her grandson that the left side of his heart is swollen. He named his own daughter Alice after that woman. Y'all see why this cuts him deeper than a regular health scare? It's an echo. To be clear, no doctor has publicly connected those two things, and YB never named an exact condition in the interview, so we're not about to play physician on this channel. But you cannot tell this man's story without noticing that the thing that took his grandmother is now the thing his doctors are watching in him. Now, what did that kid from Baton Rouge become? Statistically, one of the biggest forces rap has ever produced. Over 109 million digital copies sold in the United States, per Wikipedia. Around 15 billion views on YouTube. And here's the record most casual fans don't even know exists. As of August 2025, per Billboard, YoungBoy holds the most Billboard 200 chart entries of any rapper in history. 34 charting projects. He passed E40 for that crown when Massa debuted at number 6. He's ahead of Snoop Dogg at 30. Gucci Mane at 29, Lil Wayne at 24, Nas and Jay-Z at 23, even Tupac at 21. And only 8 of those 34 are actual studio albums. The rest is mixtapes and compilations, which tells you the man dropped a project every time the wind changed. He's also the youngest artist ever to land 100 singles on the Billboard Hot 100 per The Advocate. That's the machine that's now announcing its own shutdown, and the money matched. In August 2022, word lands that YB signs a deal worth a reported $60 million. First framed as staying with Atlantic, then confirmed as a move to Motown under Universal, effective 2023 per Billboard, Variety, and Revolt. And Revolt notes that number is reported, not a filed contract. Before that, he reportedly turned down $25 million from Atlantic. Celebrity net worth pegs him at $20 million in 2026. Other estimates run as low as 6, all of it unaudited because this man's real money sits buried in streaming royalties and his own Never Broke Again label. Point is, money was never going to be the reason he stops, which forces the question the title promised. So what is? Here's where most channels get the story wrong, so listen close. A lot of videos will tell you he's quitting because of legal pressure, like there's a case hanging over him and he's running. That's dead wrong, and the timeline proves it. Yes, his legal history is long. 2017, Baton Rouge, 3 years probation over an aggravated assault case involving a firearm. 2019, he's the target of an ambush outside a Miami hotel on Mother's Day, a deadly incident where a bystander loses their life. And to be clear, YB was the victim of that attack, not the shooter. He was never charged in that death. Later, he catches 90 days in jail and a 14-month performance ban over a probation violation. Then the big one, the federal firearms case. He acknowledged having 2 guns as a convicted felon while filming a video in Baton Rouge. In plain terms, a person with a felony record isn't allowed to touch a firearm at all, and that's a federal crime by itself. That case lands him a 23-month sentence in 2024, plus 5 years probation, and a $200,000 fine on a related set of charges. And then, Utah, April 16th, 2024, he's arrested at his home in Huntsville and booked into Cache County Jail. Prosecutors allege he and his circle ran a scheme impersonating a physician to pull prescription cough medication out of pharmacies in Hiram, Logan, and Smithfield. The promethazine with codeine, the streets call lean. 63 counts recommended, 46 actually charged. That November, he pleads guilty to a reduced package. Identity fraud and forgery counts knocked down to misdemeanors, plus pharmacy violations. A $25,000 fine, no extra Utah prison time. He serves roughly 11 months of the 23-month federal sentence, and the Bureau of Prisons bumps his release up to April 26, 2025. And then, May 28, 2025, the whole board flips. President Donald Trump grants NBA YoungBoy a full pardon on the federal gun conviction. Pardon attorney Brittany K. Barnett works his side. Alice Marie Johnson, Trump's so-called pardon czar, sits on the White House side. His longtime lawyer Drew Findling tells Rolling Stone, quote, "From Louisiana to Utah, the battles have been endless. And now he can concentrate on first and foremost his family. And then, of course, his amazing career. Probation, gone. Drug testing, gone. For the first time in his entire adult life, Sherhonda Gaulden is a fully free man with 0 legal chains on him. Let that sink in. And it's right then with total freedom in his hands, a $70 million tour behind him, and a pardon in his pocket that he chooses to leave. That detail changes the whole story. He's not running from a courtroom. Whatever he's walking away from is something a pardon can't fix. Quick pause right here. Tap that subscribe button before we go further, because the back half of this story, the beefs, the betrayal, and his own mother going at him in public is where it gets truly crazy. Because here's the thing, if YB drifted peacefully into retirement, that would be one story. But the 12 months before this announcement were some of the most chaotic of his entire career, and you need to see the pattern. Starting October 2025, right in the middle of that Massa tour, right when, as far as we now know, he may have already been carrying that diagnosis. NLE Choppa, who goes by NLE The Great Now, real name Bryson Potts, drops a disc called KO on October 30th. It samples the same Dennis Edwards record Tupac flipped for Hit 'Em Up, with cover art showing him holding a severed head that looks like YB. The core accusation, in NLE's words, "You poison the youth." He puts up billboards in Baton Rouge, YB's own city, and doubles down on Instagram, quote, "This ain't a fire drill. I'm standing on everything I'm saying. I stamp it." That beef traces back to January 2022 when Lil Reese implied YB was fraudulent. NLE agreed, and YB fired at him on Know Like I Know. YB's answer this time is the Zero IQ freestyle in November, which never even says NLE's name. NLE comes right back with a second diss, Hello Revenge, at month's end. Notice what YB is doing there. Half in, half out, like a man whose mind is already somewhere else. Then July 2026, and this stretch is wild. July 10th, Future drops his album The Real Me, and YB deliberately releases a track called What the What the exact same day. Then he goes on Instagram calling Future a flop and taunting the whole city of Atlanta. He later admits per XXL that he, quote, "just wanted to sabotage Future's album rollout." Future never responds publicly, but Doughboy, Future's free bands artist, jumps in, and it turns personal fast. YB mocks him online. Doughboy challenges him to an actual fight, drops a diss called Come Here on July 13th, questioning whether YB is really about that life, then gets the words YB trash tattooed on his head. On his head, bro. YB's cousin NBA Herm wades in behind him. It's a full circus. But the one that made the culture truly uncomfortable is Gilly the Kid. July 14, an unreleased YB snippet surfaces through No Jumper. In it, YB aims at the single most painful thing in Gilly's life, the loss of his son. Devin Spady, who rapped as YNG Cheese, was killed in Philadelphia in July 2023 at just 25 years old. YB's leaked line mocks Gilly over how he responded to it. Now here's why that landed like a betrayal and not just a diss. In late 2023, YB sat on Gilly and Wallow's $1 million worth of game podcast and comforted this man about that exact loss, face to face. And Gilly's response to the leak was the most gangster moment of the whole saga because he doesn't rage. On Live, he says, quote, "We don't say what we're gonna do on the internet, and I don't take it no type of way. I already come to grips with what happened. I'm not threatened. Grown man calm." The internet noticed who sounded at peace and who didn't. So y'all seeing the pattern, right? Pardoned, free, richer than ever, torching bridges in every direction at the same time. Future, Doughboy, Gilly, NLE, all while quietly knowing what a doctor told him on tour. And there's one more fire still burning underneath all of it, the oldest one, the Lil Durk situation. Real quick for the newer fans. That beef goes back to November 6, 2020, when King Von, Durk's closest friend and OTF's brightest star, lost his life outside the Monaco Hookah Lounge in Atlanta. It happened after a confrontation between his group and Quando Rondo's group. Quando Rondo, real name Tiquian Bowman, was the first artist ever signed to YB's Never Broke Again. The man accused in that case, Timothy Leaks, known as Lil Tim, a Quando associate, was charged with felony murder. In street terms, that means being held responsible for a death that happens during another alleged crime. But here's what a lot of fans never caught. All charges against Leaks were dropped in August 2023, before an indictment ever happened. Per his attorney, Noah Pines, nobody was ever convicted. The fallout still gave us Durk's Ah Ha and YB's I Hate YoungBoy in 2022, a Durk better billboard in Baton Rouge, and years of Cold War. Academics claimed it was squashed in 2023. Both sides seem to dispute that, and YB has shrugged the whole thing off as, in his word, entertainment. And Quando, he caught a federal case of his own, pleaded guilty in 2024 to a marijuana distribution conspiracy and did about 15 months. He hit an Atlanta halfway house in June 2026, full release scheduled for November 11th of this year. Still signed to Never Broke Again through all of it. That's the world YB is announcing his exit from. And on August 11th, he made it clear the exit goes way past music. He's leaving America itself. He says he will, quote, never in life move back to the United States. His words, there's nothing there for me, nothing else there for me at all. He's been moving through Beijing, Norway, Belgium, and France, and he's settled in South Korea with his wife, Jaslyn Michelle, who he married in 2023. Their kids, daughter Alice, born 2021, and named after his grandmother, son Clemenza True, born 2022, and a baby girl born February 22nd of this year, per TMZ. That's his 13th child overall, across reportedly 10 mothers. A family tree that includes Kentrell Jr., his son with Iyanna Mayweather, Floyd Mayweather's daughter. He announced that 13th baby in a lyric, "Me and Jazz on our third kid." The man who once was Baton Rouge now calls South Korea very safe and very clean, and says he'd only ever touch American soil again as a tourist. Remember that phrase, nothing there for me, because the last part of this story shows you exactly who he's including in it. Because in that same interview, YB said something that detonated a family war in real time. Talking about his childhood, he said his relationship with his mother fueled his anger. And then, quote, I'll never speak to her again, like we'll never talk again. I know this for a fact, but I love her. He says he loves her from a distance. And he went further, alleging, and we stress alleging, that she beat him and his brothers and left them home alone without food, without water, with the lights off. Those are his claims, his account, not established fact. His mother, Sherhonda Gaulden, a Baton Rouge stand-up comedian with over 350,000 followers, did not stay quiet. Within a day, she's on Instagram firing back, quote, Kentrell, you don't talk to me or you don't talk to your kids. Quit playing with me on this internet. She accuses him of lying on her and per TMZ brands him an absent father. Then it gets messier.
Kentrell, you don't talk to me or you don't talk to your kids. Quit playing on me on this internet. I let you lie on me too many times. I wasn't down there when you did that video with that man. That man wasn't in your kitchen while I was in your kitchen. Quit playing on me, bro. I don't give a you don't never call me. Just stop lying on me, bro.
First she claims she was right there at the interview. Then she has to walk it back and admit she mixed it up with a different interview from the Utah days. YB's reply is one line, ice cold. Sherhonda never been to Korea a day in her life. And Funny Marco himself steps in to defend him, saying, quote, he never said anything bad about his mama. Mother and son trading shots through screens an ocean apart from August 11th through today. That's the family bombshell buried under every quitting music headline. Now, the complication, because we keep it real on this channel even when it ruins a clean story. YB has quit before. December 2021, on Clubhouse with DJ Academics, he said, quote, I lost love for music and it brings too many problems. I've been waiting to stop making music for about 1.5 years. And then, what happened? Roughly 9 more projects and a record-breaking tour. Slime Cry dropped this January, debuted at number 6 with 70,000 units. That's his 17th top 10, tying Drake for second most among rappers behind only Future's 18. And it charted 19 weeks, the longest run of any rap album in 2026. He even dropped a compilation, ML2, in June. That is not the release schedule of a retired man. And read the fine print on this week's interview. Complex and XXL both point out he stopped short of formally announcing he's finished. 1 or 2 albums, 1 last tour, and a massive unreleased vault fans know exists. Half the internet says, believe him this time. The heart changed everything. The other half says, we heard this exact speech in 2021. But here's the difference, and it's the thing you should walk away holding. In 2021, quitting was a feeling. In 2026, it comes attached to a doctor's warning he hid through 42 shows and a pardon that erased his last reason to perform for lawyers and judges. It comes with a one-way move across the planet and a final public severing from his own mother. Every exit door is already closed behind him. The only questions left are the ones nobody can answer yet. What exactly is wrong with his heart? And is he getting treatment? Does that final tour ever actually get announced? And does it ever touch American soil? And when those last 1 or 2 albums drop, do they sound like goodbye? So tell me straight, is YB really done this time? Or is this 2021 all over again? Drop it in the comments.